Well, tonight on the level ground with me is none other than the commissioner in charge of West Nile, Haj Ganyana Miro, at the Amnesty Commission in Uganda. And tonight, again, we are discussing the handover of former LRA notorious commander Dominic Ongwen. Thanks for joining me, Haj Ganyana Miro.
Thank you very much.
Amnesty Commission, you have offered amnesty to many LRA former notorious commanders. Business seems it's not going to be the way you have been doing it with other LRA commanders. This time round, government is talking about handing over this gentleman to the International Criminal Court.
Yes.
Why is it that this time round they are treating this matter so special?
It is special because Dominic Ongwen has been in LRA for quite a long time, reaching the level of one of the top commanders. Not only commander, but one of the top commanders. That first of all makes it special, that he's part of the top command of LRA. Some people even have been referring to him as the deputy of Joseph Kony. So his responsibility in the RA is much wider than the ordinary commanders. Secondly, Dominic Ongwen, while in the top command, LRA has committed atrocities in 4 countries.
Why are you backing off? Because I do understand both, even those that you have offered amnesty, the LRA commanders, who are now at large, both of them almost committed same criminal offenses.
He is one of the 5 top commanders of LRA who were indicted in 2005 by the International Criminal Court. Other commanders that we may have given amnesty were not part of the group which was indicted by the LRA, by the International Criminal Court in 2005. As you will recall, the 5 people were the top commander of LRA, who is Joseph Kony. Then the next person was Dominic Ongwen himself. He was one of those people who were really indicted. The other person was Vincent Oti and Lukuya. So these are the top people who were indicted. Even Okoto Diambo was one of the 5. So that makes Ongwen's case special, that he was indicted 5 years ago. Sorry, in fact, almost 10 years ago by the International Criminal Court.
Don't you think that amnesty is maybe one of the ways of committing impunity in this country?
You see, let's go back to why amnesty. The amnesty law was passed in 2000. The amnesty law was passed because Joseph Kony had abducted many innocent individuals, had abducted children, had abducted old men, and had forced them to join him. And when the elders of northern Uganda, the religious leaders, the traditional leaders like Rot Achana and his fellow traditional leaders, when they realized that the people Kony was using were abducted against their own will. That's why they said, if by giving these people amnesty, they can escape and come back without fear of trial, let us give them amnesty. Look at the
Don't you think that you have a good case to sort out with the government of Uganda that much as this young man, now an old man, was abducted at that age, there's need to negotiate and either withdraw the matter from the ICC and we handle the matter within our confinements of the law here, or you give him an amnesty?
Considering that many of these LRA fighters were abducted people, and even more grave is that they were abducted when they were children. I one time argued the International Criminal Court sometime back had a conference here in Kampala, and they accused us, Amnesty, of being exercising impunity. I stood up. I was courageous in the International Criminal Court, which sat here in Kampala. It was in Munyonyi. I said, if I was one of those children who were abducted, and here I don't want to be misunderstood, I said, if I were to be one of those children who were abducted, I would stand up and say, where was LC1 when I was being abducted? Where was LC2? Where was LC3? Where was LC5? Where was the police? Where was the armed forces when I was being abducted? I argued that case in front of the ICC leaders who were in Munyonyo.
What about those who entered willingly?
Well, for me, I'll give you one example. The majority of the people we are receiving in amnesty, and I can tell you that we have received 13,000 LRA fighters. The majority of these people were abducted. And many of them were abducted at a tender age. And many of them, look at the child mothers. These people were abducted, not only abducted, they were abused. They became wives of commanders. They produced children whose fathers are not very well known. These are people who have suffered. I wish people could really look into the fate of these people.
No, I share the same pain and reasoning on the way you are arguing the matter, more especially to the fate of those who were abducted. But where we seem to be having a controversy are some of these commanders that entered willingly, not abducted. And you know them. Most of them are in Gulu sitting on the streets.
The majority of whom were abducted. Look at the 130 Aboke girls. Look at the people who were abducted in Muchunyi. Look at the people who were abducted in Balonyo. Look at the people who were abducted in Parabek. Some of us have been to these places. Amnesty is not just like a normal court. It's about reconciliation. Because, why is it about reconciliation? We are saying, if we make amnesty discriminatory, what happens? The few people who started with coin, many of them are even dead. They will use that very point to say, you people, if you escape and go back, because many of these people, some of them are captured by UPDF, but many of them escape.
You have already applied selective justice in this case, because most of the LRA commanders that you have given blanket amnesty committed crimes in the Central African Republic, committed crimes in South Sudan against those people there, committed crimes in Congo. But now you are handling it the Ugandan way.
No. For us, we are not saying that we are not ready to give amnesty. I'm telling you, if Dominic Ngwen entered the amnesty office, we would give him amnesty. But look at this matter, as I have told you. This guy, Koyero, we were ready to give him amnesty, but the government said no. The government said no. So the matter went to the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court said, Koyero is entitled to amnesty.
No, I'm talking about the justice that you have denied.
Denied
the
who?
Central African Republic people, the Congolese, the South Sudanese, who have suffered at the hand, have lost their dear ones. And the way you're handling it here in Kampala, in Uganda, it's like you are addressing justice for Ugandans.
Amnesty is granted to all those Ugandans who have been fighting the government of Uganda since 1986 on one condition. They first of all agree that they have been fighting. They admit that they have been fighting.
And have been killing people in the same neighboring country.
They have been fighting the government of Uganda. They denounce war and they apply for amnesty. There is no provision in the law of amnesty that says before you grant amnesty, consult the East African countries, consult Central African countries, consult. No.
And here we are talking about justice.
The law is very clear.
We are talking about justice. Not only Ugandans that were hurt, but also people in the neighboring countries. Mind you, it was the Ugandan government that pushed these guys into these countries after causing a decisive defeat of them in Uganda.
Yeah. So
you cannot say that you are going to offer justice to these people, you are going to set them free without getting the opinion of the other people.
Offering amnesty is not only in the interest of Uganda. Because you don't offer amnesty, mark you, 13,000 people have accepted amnesty. If they did not accept amnesty and they remained there, who would suffer more? Would it be Ugandans who would suffer more? It would be those countries where they would be operating.
In other words, what do you make of the US forces hand over Dominic Ongwen to the Ugandan government forces in the Central African Republic?
Okay, first of all, I would like to appreciate the fact that Ongwen was finally captured. Or if he surrendered, I'm happy that he actually surrendered. Now, the handing over of Dominic Ongwen, who was indicted by ICC, has an international jurisdiction. Because the ICC has an international jurisdiction. So, if the ICC and the other governments have reach an agreement, then Dominic Ongwen will be handed over to. And if he's handed over to the Ugandan government, we are ready to give him amnesty.
Well, Thank you, Haj Ganyana Miro,
Thank you very much
for being part of this interactive news segment,
It's been a great interaction.
where we discuss issues that affect the people and host men of sound mind like you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Good night to our audience.